Debate in America. What spurred this video is my friend H, who lives out in Fresno. That's what I call him, H. He had a class, and they were debating topics of the day. And one of the topics was, is America the greatest country in the world? And he said the whole class, everybody said that, he was the only one who defended America, said it was the greatest country in the world. And he made the arguments. And he made a big deal out of what of his arguments were, which they were good arguments. He's a good arguer. He's a very good debater. Make a fine attorney. So yeah, he could get a job getting billion-dollar corporations out of trouble. You know, they could kill like 1,000 people with some kind of accident, and he could get up there and argue and make it all go away. You know, probably put 1,000 people in jail after they've already been damaged, you know, because he's so good. That's my point. Arguing's only so good. It's not everything. Everything's not an argument. That's the myth about language, that it solves everything. It doesn't. That's another video. So what I'm trying to tell you here is debate in America is like that. He got in there and he said, well, everybody wants to come to America, don't they? When there's problems, who goes and bails everybody out all over the world? You know, who won World War II? Who's been there everywhere? All those standard debates that Rush Limbaugh and his ilk make. I'm sure he made them, and I'm sure he made them quite well. And he said that they wanted to bomb us into the Stone Age. That's what he said, something to that effect. And he may get mad, but he said that they disliked the country that much. And I don't believe that. Personally, I don't believe they hated the country that much. But if they did, maybe they should try another country. And if you hate your country that much, leave. And I'm being serious, because I have people, when I'm talking to Tea Party people, and I tell them my left-wing philosophies, and they say, well, if you don't like it, leave. I tell them to leave. I'm the one who believes in Obamacare. That's what the country is law. I'm the law of the land, not you, pal. I support the President of the United States. You're the one who's the rebel. You're the one who's the revolutionary. You're the one who's an asshole that should leave. You're the minority. So I don't know why they put that on me, because I'm not a minority. I'm a majority. I think like most Americans. I have progressive ideas. I think corporations have went too far, and I think government has went too far, and people need to be put first. That's what I believe in, period. But those are good arguments, I think, but we cannot have a debate in this country. It's hard to have a debate. You get called names, you get made fun of. The worst thing that I encountered, and I'm not saying that this is from, I've encountered it from lots of people. I'm going to give you some examples of when I was in San Diego. It was the same place. There was a gentleman there. I liked him. He was my age, kind of chubby. He was ex-military. And that was during the presidential election. And the fact that I supported Dr. Paul, he said I was a kook, an idiot. He just said some very vicious things. Just because I don't support the U.S. military and their bullshit. He called me a kook. He didn't even argue with me. He just called me names. And I cussed him out. I said filthy, awful things to him. I used the F words, and I was pissed. And he backed off. Because, you know, and I was hoping Dr. Paul's people would do that at the convention, but they didn't. They pretty much silenced it. They're pretty much nice. Because unfortunately, in this country, like every other country, the brown shirts win. You know, you remember the brown shirts, the ruffians, the hooligans, the rough people, they win. The Jimmy Hoffas and the Benito Mussolinis, the people that beat up cars and crash things and are rough, they win. And that is not a debate. Punching someone in the nose is not a debate. But, you know, that's if you want to win an argument, that's what you do. You punch somebody in the nose. That's one of the problems with debate in this country. The other problem is the other thing that I want to say is you make fun of people. That's the first thing that they do. I was called a loon by some guy on the internet, right? So, you know what I did? I called him ugly. I said he was ugly. So if he's going to call me a name, I'm going to call him a name. So they call you all kinds of names, and that's what they do. So that's the first thing that they do is they make you and they call you names. And they say you're un-American, so forth and so on. The other thing is they don't want to go there. They don't want to discuss it. Why is it that a building never got hit during 9/11? Building 7 was never hit, and it went down just like it'd been hit. There's pictures of the Pentagon that wasn't hit by an airplane. It was obviously not an airplane there. There was no fuselage there. There was no equipment left there. But yet they won't talk about that. They'll call you a kook, a conspiracy theorist. They'll get upset with you. I mean, why is this? I don't know. Like my son said, he's moved on. Like Peter Joseph said it the other day, the guy who made Zeitgeist, that turned me on to all that stuff. He says he's moved on. He doesn't care about it. And I really don't care. But I mean, that's some pretty big stuff not to care about. How when Mr. Kennedy was killed, there was 7 bullet wounds between him and Mr. Connolly, and they supposedly shot 3 shots, and one of them missed. So that was 2 bullets, 7 wounds. I mean, explain that to me, how that happened. They did explain it. Arlen Specter had the magic bullet theory, which I brought up to somebody. He said, well, that's in Wikipedia. That obviously couldn't work. Oh, I didn't really come back from that. But anyway, that's what they do. They don't want to face issues. They don't want to face things. They don't want to do that. Just like I said about somebody close to my female in my family. She says, well, I'm going to get a nervous breakdown if I keep this up. So, and then the other night, I was talking to these people that were dressed up like a bunch of Hell's Angels types. And they didn't want to talk politics. They dress like Hell's Angels. They look like Billy Badasses. And the lady says, well, you don't talk about politics or religion or somebody's wife. That was their rule. Like I care what they think. What some goofy looking people with rags on their head that are white that run around riding a motorcycle. Like they're a caricature of somebody who's cool. Why would I care about their opinion? I don't even know why I was discussing it. Now, I don't know how in the hell we're going to progress in this country if we don't discuss things with each other, if we don't have knockdown, drag-out arguments about the issues that are important. Our country is facing things. We have enemies, we have friends, we have resources, and we need to talk about it. We can't just leave it up to the politicians and the corporations to do this. I don't accept that. I'm not going to leave this up to Archer Daniel Midlands to decide what I eat. I don't like that. I don't want that. I want us to decide as a people. All of us. Not just the American people. All of us. All of us are one people. We all own the planet, and we should take it over. All right, that's what we should do. We don't need to be violent. The age of violence is over. In 1945, when they exploded in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, violence was over. Because violence became total death. It's over. We have to move on. We have to discuss things like civilized people. And this stuff is going to wind down even more. There's going to be less and less war, as I've detailed in these things. People complain about these drone things, and and Mr. Obama's killed like 4,000 people. 4,000. 80,000 people. The American government killed 80,000 people in Dresden with conventional bombs at the end of World War II. 80,000. Mr. Obama's killed 4,000 in his 6 years, in his 6 years in office. Mr. Bush killed about 1,500, if my figures are right. So it's been less than 7,000 or 8,000 people, where we killed 80,000 people in one day. One day. Not counting all the other stuff. Mr. Nixon and Mr. Kissinger killed 500,000 people bombing a country that we weren't even supposed to bomb. Because they didn't have any weapons. They couldn't fight back. Well, Vladimir Putin can fight back. He can. Israel can fight back. France can fight back. England can fight back. So we need to settle down and accept our place in the world and move forward and quit calling each other names. Quit calling somebody a fag. Quit calling somebody a loon. Quit calling someone a conspiracy theorist. Quit calling names and open the debate and discuss issues with people that you disagree with, and open your mind to their arguments and listen to what they have to say. Critique their arguments and try to discuss things rather than just debating them just to win. That's pointless. Get your ego out of it. Read more, study more, do your research. Do your research. As Mr. Maxwell says, Jordan Maxwell says, do your research. Okay? So, I guess if this was a rant, so be it. Peace.